changed a little bit, and this with the 7-on-7s and so forth. It seems like every time I turned around, somebody was doing something. It seems like a little earlier. So other than your skill positions, tell us a little bit about, not everything obviously, but you can tell us a little bit about what kind of offense that are you still running.
We are running the wing T. Now there's a chance we might run a little bit of shotgun wing T with the people we have. Walby can do everything and run from there. So we may run a little bit of that, possibly. But our line is huge. I mean, I got 6'4" guys, another 6'3", and these guys go. One's 300 pounds. He's a third-year starter. So we got some good size, and we got 6 really good linemen, I think. And then the tight end, we got 7. We got 7 guys on the line that we feel pretty comfortable with. As long as there's no injuries, we'll be fine there. And then, like I said, they got some good size. I think we average about 245 weight-wise across the line.
Nice.
Average. But
so you're licking your chops a little bit, maybe?
Well, we like to run the ball. That's
sure.
obvious.
Sure.
We're still not going to – that's going to be our number one thing, run first. And then but I do think we can throw. Both of them got much better at throwing the ball, too.
Defensively, what do you see for your team for Gibsonburg this season in being able to complement that good offense?
Well, there again, our DBs, they've all – been starters for 2 or 3 years, and Walby started last year, so at free safety. So we got experience at DBs, we think, and so we're solid there. Our linebackers are both back. Again, as a safety, so we think we got experience. I think we're a little better. Defensive line, we're going to be a little bit better than we have been. We didn't like to play freshmen 2 ways last year, but this year sophomores, we're going to play them. We didn't want to play it. Other than Walby, none of the other freshmen only played 1 way pretty much.
Talking with Joe Wyatt, the head coach at Gibsonburg. They get ready for their season opener Friday night, hosting Ottawa Hills, a team you've played the last few years, and they're good again. So, in looking at the film, what do you see in Ottawa Hills?
Oh, they're very fast. Now they're very fast, and I just saw them talk that they think they got the best skilled people in Northwest Ohio. They said on TV the other night. The running back is really fast. The quarterback's very good quarterback. He's back for his 4th year. I think he's a starter. So they're going to be good. Like I said, we're better, but the teams we play the same teams. So we could be a whole lot better and still end up 5-5 again.
You do get one guy back for Gibsonburg that had the ACL, and he was playing at the end of the year with that ACL last year, and then had surgery in the early part of the winter, Grant Smith. So how's his recovery been during your preseason?
Leg-wise, he's doing fine. He's running. He'll probably be – we have 2 fullbacks we're running, him and Aiden Nims right now, who's really fast kid too. He's one of our fastest kids on the team. So they're both sharing time right now at fullback, but Smith is a hard-nosed, tough kid. Played last year with the knee brace and blown, he didn't want to set out. He's also playing a little bit of middle linebacker for us. So
yeah,
he's a tough kid in his family.
Talking with head coach Joe Wyatt at Gibsonburg. We're here at Frickers for the Coaches Show. It's our first one of the year. Of course, all the action on Friday night begins with the first week of the season. And, you look at some of the things you've done. And, of course, let's look at your division. Mike Lento moves over to Tiffin Calvert from Lakota. So how do you think things will stack up this year? Obviously, Hope will allow them to establish that, they've won the league the last 3 years in a row. But how do you see maybe some of the other teams trying to challenge them for that top spot?
Well, I think the league in all, everyone's going to be a little bit better. Obviously, Calvert's. They lost the quarterback. They got to replace, and he's tough. But they got a really good running back, and they're really huge up front. They're probably bigger than us. They got 3 guys that are could be Division I type players almost. So they should be good. Margaretta's solid every year with Coach Quizino, and Woodmore's they got numbers out this year. I think Woodmore's going to be a better team. So I think our whole league, Willard's got a little bit better, I think, this year, too, should be. So our whole division is going to be better.
So tell me a little bit. You mentioned you played a lot of freshmen last year, but obviously not on both sides of the ball. So at Gibsonburg, so obviously, do you guys have captains or yearly captains, or is it game captains that you know?
This year I went with. Well, I have in the past. We got 3 captains this year, 3 seniors.
Okay.
That have a lot of playing time. They're quality individuals, and Camden Mooney's one, Grant Dawson, and Antonio Salazar. They've all been 2-year starters at least, if not 3. So they're good kids. They're leaders, and then I'll throw another senior each week in.
Sure.
Fourth.
Okay. How about a little bit about the kicking game now? Let's talk about the special teams.
Special teams, we get the same kicker back. It's going to be Spencer Wagaman. He does all the kicking, all of it. His punting, he's a pretty good punter. He averaged high 30s last year, about 38. He kick off. He can kick it to the 5 usually, that type. Once in a while, maybe get one in the end zone. But he does a good job. He's got a strong leg. He'd probably kick a 45-yarder, probably field goal, I would think. We worked on it. Today he did.
Right. That's nice.
But,
that's nice.
That's impressive.
That's impressive coming from a high school kid. It used to be if you heard someone kicking from 35, hey, he's got a leg. Yeah. I'm talking about back when I played. But anyways, now these kids, it's like second nature.
I was going to ask when you played, but I'm gonna keep that in the record.
It's back in the 80s. Back in the 80s. So back in the 80s. Yeah, we did have face masks. But anyways, it sounds like you're excited. Kids excited. I'm sure the community is excited, and we wish you guys all the best and luck. And the name of the game is obviously stay healthy, and obviously early you want to cut down on any penalties or silly things. But that's of course those are kids. That's how they learn, and I wish you all the best for sure.
We got to stay healthy. We have 32 in our roster, but probably 8 of those are first-year guys or never played before. So we think we got 16 or 17 that can play. We feel happy with the 16 or 17 that we can sub in. So that's what you usually like to get, 15 or 16. I think we're up to 17 that we feel comfortable with.
Okay, one last quick question. Of course, this is a thought-provoking question, so maybe this isn't the right time to do this. But the thing you're most looking forward to this year, Coach, and the thing that is your greatest challenge, the one question that you have.
We got to take the game serious week by week and not take anybody for granted. I worry about that sometimes in young kids. They know they have some talent. Our young kids got talent. But we got to be prepared and mentally tough and not be and stay focused and get better every day. And sometimes that's a little harder with younger guys because they all think they got the world figured out, But our kids are working hard. I and the kids care. I really like the kids we have. They care.
Yeah, there you go. And we look forward to seeing your progress throughout the season. And thanks for joining us. And you're the first guest on our first coaches show for the year. So we have nothing to give you for that, but except our everlasting gratitude.
Well, thank you again.
All right, Joe. Coach Joe Wyatt joining us from Gibsonburg. And once again, they open up the season hosting Ottawa Hills on Friday night. We come back.
Good luck to you.
Here at Frickers. We will talk with Mike May, the head coach at Oak Harbor. Their team was undefeated in their first year in the NBC last year and went all the way to the regional semifinals, losing to the state runners-up in that division, and that was Liberty Center. More coming up here from Frickers. A reminder, $7.99 steak night. They have daily specials, so you can inquire about that, and also ask your server because kids can eat free here at Frickers. More on the Coaches Show coming up next. I'm Tim Boulware with Scott Logan here on Eagle 99.
Welcome back.
I did get it right this time, so I'm
Yes,
feeling
you
good
did.
about that.
It's not Monday.
As I said, basketball season's Monday, and it's Wednesday during the football season. So I always mess that up one time. But, hey, you have to laugh at your own mistakes. And there'll be plenty of them this year. But as we go along with our preview show here from Fricker, $7.99 steak night, and you can watch the Guardians and Yankees. Unfortunately, the Yankees are up 2-0. They had a home run just a few moments ago. But it's early in the game, so that's the main thing. We're talking with Mike May, the head coach at Oak Harbor. And how many years coaches has been there? I mean,
this is 17.
Yeah, 17.
Actually, yeah.
I was right around there.
I'm getting old now.
Well, yeah, but you have had such longevity there, and what an exciting season for your team last year. The first year in the NBC, you go undefeated. You scored 45 points on the average per game, and then lose to the team that were the state runners-up in Liberty Center. So take us into last year and how you want to build on that success for this season.
Yeah, it was a great season for us last year, and I think one of the key things for us, we had coming in a new league in the NBC, and we definitely wanted to make a good showing there. We're able to do that. That's a really good league. A lot of good coaches in that league and football players, and we're fortunate to win the league. And then for us, it was important for us. We got to week 3 of the playoffs, and I think our first 2 games are at home. But when you get to week 3 at that neutral site, it really kind of feels like the playoffs. And we played over Oregon Clay, and the place was packed, against obviously a really good Liberty Center team. Things didn't go our way that night, but our guys they know now what it takes to get to that level and beyond. So I think just getting to that point, I think was a big key for us. And we are fortunate we have a lot of guys back. We have a pretty talented senior class, so we're excited going into this season.
Well, it was tough in that region because the number 1 ranked team was Liberty Center, and you were the 4th ranked team. And but for all that you were able to do for the year, the way that you played offensively, defensively, we can go over a number of the stats that I looked at. But you played so well on both sides of the ball. And how do you look to continue that for this season?
Well, I do think we played complementary football last year. Offensively, we did put up a lot of points. We're able to run and throw the ball. We have a quarterback right now who this will be his 3rd year starting, and his accuracy is really outstanding, and he's also our starting free safety. So he's been a starter on both sides of the ball for 3 years now, and he kind of makes us go really on both sides of the ball. As our free safety, he makes all of our checks, makes our strength calls. does everything. So that's Michael Alon. He really does a nice job. And, offensively, we were really solid last year. I thought we were consistent. Defensively, I thought we played really well. One thing I'm proud of, we didn't give up a point in the third quarter until we got to Liberty Center. So I think that's something that, definitely the kids are proud of. And I thought we were solid really in all three phases last year.
One thing that I do want to focus on before we go on some of the others and individual numbers, Hell teams did 19% on third down last year. So how are you able to have such success on third down? Was that the success in first and second down? Was that in short yardage situations? But how were you able to do it?
I would like to take credit for it, but we had really good football players. That's the honest truth. And they buy into it. Defensively, we don't do a whole lot, but we take a lot of pride in just running the football. That's what we're all about. And I think when you can do that and you have a talented defense and you can get the offense behind the sticks on first and second down, that really helps you out on third down. So I think we were able to do that, quite a bit last year.
Yeah, the old saying, defense does win championships. And, I don't care if that's in high school, but it's true to this day. So the nice thing is last year we got to cover a couple of the playoff games on the radio last year. And, being busy ourselves on Friday nights and being at different locations, obviously, you get a chance to check what's going on. You handled yourself very well, and you handled the teams very well. And all of a sudden you're looking, my God, they're undefeated. And so that sparks up the interest. And I literally live 9 miles from Oak Harbor, so and it's like, of course, other than hearing the doggone fireworks go off all the time, 4th of July is something else. Yeah. But no, tell us a little bit more. I mean, so the expectations continue to rise, and the bar continues to go up, obviously, with your program.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to build off last year. We really have the same goals every year. We want to go in and compete. Our main goal is protect our borders, our rivalry games, Port Clinton and Genoa. That's a big one for us. And then obviously compete for a league championship and then regional championship and hopefully eventually, get to that ultimate prize of state championship. But, expectations are sky high. I really honestly don't pay a whole lot of attention to preseason picks. I know we were picked to win the league, but we tell our kids basically every day that just means we have a big bullseye. We're going to be everybody's Super Bowl. So everybody in the league is going to come after us.
Right.
And the NBC and really pretty much any league, you have to be ready to play every week because we know we're going to get everybody's best. So we're excited. Our kids are excited. And I think the biggest thing from last year, going 12-1, getting in the week 3 of the playoffs, was we carried that momentum into the offseason. So our numbers in the weight room and the summer workouts, those have really been outstanding. Our numbers are up in our program. We have 67 players, 9 through 12, which for us we're really happy with. We have a freshman team, full JV team, and so we're looking at playing games at all 3 levels. So that's
great.
I think our program's in a healthy place right now, and I feel like we have a lot of momentum right now.
Good.
Talking with Mike May, head coach at Oak Harbor. They're 12-1 last year, went all the way to the regional semis, and they have Bousher coming up on Friday night. Then they host Woodward. So the first 2 games are at home, and then you have 2 straight on the road, including your rivalry game with Port Clinton. But let's go a little bit into some of the players. And you already mentioned about Michael Lalonde, and he's a star basketball player as well. His ability to manage the game, how do you see that? Because I noticed a lot of things when we were doing the games in the playoffs, how after that first down you get that quick tempo going right back to the line. How does that throw defenses off in Lalonde and controlling the game?
Yeah, our offensive coaches do a great job planning that. And I know I've coached our defense. I've coached defense my entire career. And I know when an offense gets a big play on you and they get right back up on the ball and run, usually we're back on our heels defensively. So we try to do that some to opposing defenses. Biggest thing about Mike, honestly, is he never gets rattled. He is super competitive, and he's one of those kids that when the game is on the line, he's a great 3-sport athlete, basketball, baseball. I think he'll probably go on and play college baseball. When he's on a pitcher's mound, he wants the ball. He wants the ball. He wants to pitch every game if they let him. Basketball, if it's – he wants to be the one on the free throw line with 2 seconds left, and he's just that type of kid. So he never gets rattled, and he brings – what I found through the years, if you have a good quarterback that makes plays, it gives your team so much confidence, and he brings that to us. So our guys always feel like we're never really out of a game because we have Mike there, and we have nice weapons around him too. Got a nice group of running backs and receivers, and our offensive line's really coming on. So But he's a leader of it. He really is.
There's a guy who plays both ways that I want to focus on, and just what he means to your team. First off, defensively, he had 16 sacks of your 30 team sacks last year, and Jacob Reidner. He also is your running back. But let's go first off into the defensive side of the ball and what he means and how much problem he causes opposing offenses.
He is honestly probably the best defensive lineman maybe I've ever coached. And he's about 6 foot, about 210 pounds, and he studies the game. And he's a great kid, doesn't say much, always plays hard. I've never seen him take a play off in practice, game, anything. And he always has, like you mentioned his sacks, he has a plan every week. He studies the offensive tackles, and he has a plan for each one. And I've never had a kid like that before that studies it like that. And he already has our sack record. He's 2-time All-State and just a great kid. He also starts on the offensive line. His twin brother is our running back.
Okay.
So Carson, his brothers, are
Carson,
starting.
yes,
Yeah,
that's where I got it wrong.
Fortunately, they're twins, and we got him, so we have 2 of them. So it's awesome. But Carson is our starting middle linebacker, tailback. But Jacob played a lot last year in offensive line. We had some depth on the O-line last year, so we didn't have to play him as much. But he's definitely starting at guard for us this year and just an awesome two-way player.
I have a quick follow-up with that for Jacob because of the way he studies. How much does that resonate with the other players in the program?
Oh, I think that's leading by example. I mean, they see what he does and how prepared he is, and that raises the level of everybody else. There's no doubt about it. So, like I said, he doesn't say much, but he doesn't have to. He's a tremendous leader just by the way he carries himself and what he does, on and off the field.
Well, like you said, you don't have to say much, just watch.
Yeah.
Whether it's helping your teammate off the ground, and so if there's a mistake, a little pat on the back saying, next time, we'll get it next time. But so you're still continuing to run the spread. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And roughly how many different formations do you run off that spread?
Our coaches, we have quite a few formations, use some motions, we trade some. Really don't run a whole lot of plays. We have 3 running plays. We run power, we run counter, we run wide zone. That's it. So what we do is just kind of dress it up a little bit.
Right.
Our passing game, our coaches, I don't really do anything on the offensive side of the ball. I have a great staff around me. I'm super fortunate with that. So we, especially with a quarterback like Mike,
Sure.
We throw it around a little bit too, and probably will a little bit more this year. But what we want to do is run power and counter and wide zone and then throw it around a little bit. But it's important for us. We want to be physical.
Right.
So we are spread, but I'd say we're more like a power spread type football team.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. And defensive-wise, your scheme?
4-2-5. When I first started, we were 6-2. Teams started to throw a little bit more. We were 4-4, and now we're 4-2-5. So we just went through the evolution that most even front teams do. So
Right. And there again, having the athletes is the big thing.
Right.
And you can take a little more chances, obviously, on things. And that's great, though. Having that nucleus back and there's juniors and seniors now, but having them back and having kids back there playing for 3 years, I mean, that's a great advantage for sure.
we have 7 starters back on defense. A couple of them are 4-year starters. We got a number of 3-year starters. So they played a lot of football, and it's fun coaching them right now because we really haven't changed anything scheme-wise.
Right.
It's like having 7 assistant coaches on the field. It
That's
really is
awesome.
a lot of fun.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
A lot of positives right there. We're talking with Mike May, the head coach at Oak Harbor, as they get ready for their season opener against Bowsher coming up on Friday night. That'll be their first home game. Woodward then follows at home as well before they embark on the road in the 3rd week of the season. But, you take a look at all the things you're able to do, and you've had a winning record every year since 2014. So that's a decade of success for you. And in building up the program, now that you've reached this high level, what was it that you did first to make it buy-in for the kids back then that is resonating now?
Well, when I first got to Oak Harbor, I was crazy enough to follow Gary Quizno, who's an absolute legend. We struggled for a while.
And he won't give it up because he's at Margaretta.
Then I had to coach against him at Perkins when I first got there. So, geez, ow. But really, the foundation for the program was laid well before I got there. It was Coach Quizno, his staff, the decades of players that went through there. So that was already established. We struggled a little bit early on, but I think we got it going again, just embracing that tradition. One thing I'm really, really proud of is in 2018, we decided as a staff, we had been at a string like 4 or 5, 5 and 5 years in a row. and we said let's focus on let's take care of home. Let's win. Focus on winning at home. And since 2018, we won 90% of our games in Rocket Stadium, and that kind of helped. Once you take care of home games, that you're winning half of them at least, and then then start elevating, getting into playoffs, and we've also had a great run of kids coming too. And Oak Harbor is a community that absolutely loves its football. It's a blue collar community, and we have tough kids, and it's just it's a great place to coach football.
Yeah, my ears were ringing from all the cowbells last time, and I just go to that Saturday Night Live. What we need is more cowbell.
It does get loud in there.
It does get loud.
We're talking with Mike May, the head coach at Oak Harbor. They get ready for Boucher coming up on Friday night. And a couple last things for you. And first, you had 9 first-team all-conference players last year. Take us a little bit into some of the other players that really make a difference for your squad. It may not get as much publicity as some of the other fans with them.
We have a number, like I mentioned, number of seniors that have played a lot of football. I mentioned Carson Reidner, Jacob Reidner, Michael Alond, Tyler Thompson, who's a tremendous. One thing we have going too right now is our track program is tremendous. Having a great run of kids there, and those kids pretty much are all playing football.
Yeah.
So you look at Tyler Thompson, we've got Jackson Overmeyer. Our returning starter up front is Isaac Schulte. His dad is our offensive line coach. Brady Losey on defense, Braden Butzine on defense. Gary Brooks back, who's has started some games as a freshman. So I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys there, but we got quite a nucleus back of guys that have made plays. And also we have, some seniors, Ethan Branham, Peyton Stewart. Those guys aren't starting right now, but they're giving us tremendous looks on the scout teams. We just complimented those guys today because they want to win. And, the way things are now, you rarely see seniors, if they're not starting, oftentimes they don't stay with the program.
True.
But we have a handful of guys that just wanted to be a part of it and help in any way that they can. We also have another one, Braden Wallace, who helps out. He doesn't play, but he's a senior, and he helps out with anything we need, filling water, anything. He's there every single day. So those guys, too, are the unsung heroes of the program, really, that kind of do the dirty work and don't get noticed.
So with all these kids coming back, and obviously you're a little more heavy on the senior side, tell us a little bit, are you picking captains, or are you just electing captains for the year or just for the game?
The team selected captains. Typically we have 4. We just did this the other day. We ended up with 6. We had 6 seniors that with our really good senior class. We had 6 kids that are right there kind of bunched together at the top, so we named 6 captains, which is most we've had maybe as far as back as I can remember. But I think that's a testament to the type of leadership we have in that class. And we probably honestly could have had more than that. But, yeah, it's those guys. It's the one thing that I notice every single day, and the kids take pride in this. And I heard Urban Meyer talk about it at a coaching clinic. You can tell how good a team is, how close-knit they are, disciplined, when you go in the locker room. If they have a clean locker room, that's probably a pretty good football team, a disciplined football team. And this year you could eat off our floor in the locker room. And it seems like a little thing, but there's just things like that these seniors are taking care of. We have a card fundraiser just finished up last week. We set a record and we've been doing it for 15 years. We set a record for the amount of cards sold. So those are just a couple examples of the type of leadership we have right now in the program.
Well, I will say this. As far as eating off the floor of your locker room, I'll pass.
Yeah, that might be going a little
for it.
too far, but it's pretty clean.
Very, very good. Well, the key question is, do they keep their rooms clean?
That I don't know.
Keeping the locker room more than they are their rooms. All right. Well, Mike May with Oak Harbor, we really do appreciate it. Look forward to your season, your success, and we wish you the best of luck in your season opener coming up on Friday night against Boucher. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk Clyde Flyer football with Ryan Carter. A reminder, we're Frickers here for the Coaches Show. So come on out and enjoy the Guardian Yankees game. I don't know how the pitcher is for the Yankees tonight, but he has a green glove. That blends in, and that's probably the only green glove I've ever seen on a baseball diamond, other than maybe in the youth leagues. All right, well, we'll continue along. We're going to talk Clyde Flyer football coming up next. And a reminder, it's $7.99 steak night here at Frickers. And they also have nightly specials with the freaking chicken wings and boneless wings. And you can check their website for all those specials. And ask your server. Kids eat free as well. So they'll give you all the details. More coming up next as we roll along with Coach Carter. After this, you're listening to Eagle 99. By Ryan Carter on our preview show. The Clyde Flyers get ready for a road game against their arch rival Bellevue coming up on Friday night. We'll talk about that and in more detail, his team. And, Coach, thanks for joining us tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having us. Looking forward to the season. We've been itching to get back out there since last year, and the time is finally here. I told our kids tonight when we got done with practice, I said it's Thursday of Bellevue week now. So let's get ourselves ready to roll.
4 weeks ago, I was in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, and I was at Yellowstone.
Good for you.
I was at Yellowstone, and then once we left, they had all the earthquakes. They had that geyser go off everywhere. It was bedlam.
You got out in time.
Yeah,
Sure did.
got out just in time. We did see bear, elk, everything, but no,
Cool.
that's another story. But you're right. The summer just goes by so quickly nowadays, and take us into some of the things that your guys have done in preparing for the season during the off.
Well, we have really put an emphasis on team bonding and leadership in our off season, and our kids have bought into that. Now, you're not out there on a Friday night yet, and the bullets aren't flying and things aren't going bad yet. You're practicing against the scout team, you're practicing against yourselves, so everything's kind of smooth. We'll see where the chips fall on Friday night when the live bullets start flying. But I've been super proud of our group this year. Bouncing back from the offseason, we had a ton of injuries last year, and nobody wants to hear that. Everybody has injuries, but we just had a rash of them last year that went through our program that we hadn't seen in a while. And, it depleted us a little bit. But what it did is it got a lot of kids playing time and experience that wouldn't have got it normally last year. Sure. And so we have those kids returning that got a ton of time last year. We have some of the injured kids returning that were out last year. So within that mix, we're super excited to see what we have on Friday night.
You brought up something interesting, and I want to talk about it a little bit. the team bonding exercises. So what is the best way for a coach to facilitate that?
Honestly, I don't know what the best way is. I know how we do it, and everybody does it different, and I'm not saying one way is right, one way is not. But we buy into a ton of Focus 3 stuff over at Clyde, and that has been our motto, our mantra, or whatever you want to call it for the entire time I've been there. You know, I picked it up from Ohio State way back in 2012, 2013, and we've used it every year since Urban's been there. And, you know, just the buying into the culture of you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have issues, you're going to have things go wrong in your program, but it's how you respond to those actions which really dictate your outcome. You know, how you respond to kids getting hurt, how you respond. And I don't think we did very well last year. It was one of the things we talked about in the offseason. And honestly, that had to do with me as a coach as well. We had some key positions go down last year: quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 offensive linemen. And I was calling the same offense, the same plays as I was calling with those kids in, and that was a fault of mine. You know, in high school football, when you lose key positions like that, you got to tweak it a little bit. You got to do things different. And I didn't do that real well last year. So how you respond to those circumstances, I think, you know, dictates your outcome, and we worked on that a ton this summer.
Yeah, one thing I want to follow up on. You know, it's refreshing to hear a coach say that. You've been in this game a long time. You've been at Clyde a long time.
Yep.
And to say that and to say you know, when you look in the mirror and say, what could I have done better? How hard is that for a coach to say that?
Again, everybody does it different, and everybody, you know, places blame different places. You know, starting way back when I coached basketball for 10 years, I was always one that said, hey, you know, what can I do better to make us better? And you know, I take a lot of that upon myself, and our coaches take a lot of that upon themselves. And that's just kind of the way we do it over in Clyde. We try to deflect that off the kids as much as possible, and you know, try to support them and build them along as much as possible. But like I said, our kids have responded great. They've been positive, and we're going to go into Friday night over at our rival over on the road against Bellevue and see what we got.
And that normally being that Bellevue-Clyde game, it used to be at the end of the season,
Yeah.
many years ago, and now it's Smash Mouth Week 1.
Yeah.
You know, that sets the tone for a lot of things, actually.
It really does. And I've played it at all 3 levels, guys, throughout my short coaching career in football. Not short, because I am old. But when I first took the football job, we were playing them week 3. Mm-hmm. It was kind of that, you know, non-league week 3 game.
Right.
So you had a little bit of buffer in there to get your feet under you, play a couple games, and then you played Bellevue.
Sure.
Then it moved, when they moved to the league, it moved to week 10.
Right.
So then, you know, you take the old Ohio State-Michigan theory and you put a little bit in each week.
Right.
And save it for that Bellevue game.
Sure.
And then in 1 year we played them week 10, and it flipped to week 1 the next year. So, and now we've played them week 1. And, you know, we have the utmost respect for Bellevue. They do things the right way. Ed has been in this game a long time and won and lost a heck of a lot more games than I've ever been involved in. So we know that we're going to get a quality product. They're going to do things the right way. Their kids play football the right way. And honestly, you know, their town is a lot like Clyde. Their kids are a lot like Clyde kids. So you got a pretty evenly matched kid. You got a pretty evenly matched town. And you go in and hopefully we can make more plays than they do on Friday night.
Right. And knowing I'm sure there's still something in the back pocket. Maybe something
Always.
little. There's always something in the
Always.
back. A little shocker.
I'm not going to indulge.
Of course, I wouldn't expect you to.
Actually, Ed's probably listening.
Sure he is.
So we're going to come out in double tight, double wing, and we're going to try to run it every single play. With my quarterback that broke his collarbone running it last year.
There you go.
If you believe that.
Well said. Well
Coach
said.
Ryan Carter joining us as Clyde gets ready for Bellevue coming up on Friday night. That's a road game in the season opener. And, well, we were talking a little bit on the phone a couple of days ago, and let's go a little bit into your captains, just what kind of leadership role you hope to have from them in this season to set the tone.
Man, it's this senior class, a little bit different for me. You guys probably don't even know this, but I'm going to tell you. I've coached this class. My son is in this class. My son plays wide receiver for this senior class. And so I have been around these kids. I have coached this class since they have been first graders, in flag football. And I'd help out with biddy basketball and help out with, whatever they were involved with. So these kids are special to me. They're tight-knit group. And we always go with 4 seniors or 4 captains. Doesn't have to be a senior, but 4 captains. And we let our kids decide that. It's part of our team bonding is our kids vote, and we go off the kids' vote. Well, we had if our votes this year were 95%, it was 10 kids across the board that were all within that 80-90%, and it was tough. We have a ton of senior leadership in this group, the guys that have played 2-3 years of football, and guys that got a lot of votes. So we went with the 5 that we went with were our highest vote-getting guys. Cedric Messers played a lot of football for us, both sides of the football. He's a linebacker, running back. Xander Burrows starts at safety for us. He has for 3 years now. He also plays offense for us. Brennan Wilson, again, went down last year with a broken collarbone, and it really, really affected our season. He plays at safety for us as well.
Hey, I want to pause
Yeah,
there.
you're fine.
How hungry does that make a guy after getting out of the and not being able to play the rest of the
Well, I think we can tell, early on in this season, he is itching to play a football game.
Yeah.
And the things that he's been able to do so far for us have shown that, he wants to get back out there. And he plays defense for us, too. He plays safety for us. And I have limited his touches offensively, and he doesn't like that too much. But I'm trying to get through 10 weeks instead of week 1. Because he's pretty important to us. But I think he's ready to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, continue along with the captains.
Where did I leave off? Alex Krinsline is a senior lineman for us. Alex is such a good story in the fact that, he didn't play football early on, but has really, really developed into one of our leaders up front, a guy that we lean on to play multiple positions on offense and defense. So just that true leader for us on the offensive and defensive line. And then who did I leave out?
Xander Burrows?
Nope,
Did you have
I
him?
talked about
Okay,
Xander.
Brendan Wilson?
Brendan
You already
talked about
talked
him. Cam Shortridge. Can't leave Cam out. We actually have a nickname for Cam on our team. It's called Do-All. And Cam does everything. He punts for us, plays wide receiver for us, plays corner for us, plays a ton of special teams for us. And Cam is he's one of those kids that you need on a game-in, game-out basis. Tough, hard-nosed kid, and we rely a lot on him.
So take us into, I don't want to say when the injuries did happen, and obviously you had to change. Things had to be changed, and you made mention that you had to change a little bit. So what was the mentality in knowing that you thought that you had to change?
One of the biggest things the hurdle we had to get over was convincing our kids that we can still go play good football minus these kids. Mm-hmm. What ended up happening is we had to switch so many positions to fill. And when you do that, I think you take the comfort out of a player and you make them uncomfortable. And when you do that on a Friday night, that leads to indecision, and that leads to not playing as fast as you should be playing. So what we really tried to do was say, okay, even if we have to play a younger kid or a backup kid, if that is his natural position, let's not move. Let's not have one kid get hurt and have it affect 3-4 positions.
Right.
Let's not move 3 kids to fill one, and now we're weaker in 4 or 5 positions.
Right.
So that was, and it took us a couple weeks to get to that point because we're those first couple weeks you lose those kids, you're fishing, man. I want to get good right now. Let's move our best player that we can into this position. But we ended up making us weak. We ended up making us weaker in those other positions. So that's what we focused on. Let's take a kid and develop him. And honestly, we were playing pretty decent football at the end of the year. I know we got beaten week 1 by Rocky River. I know that was a game we could have won. We had ample opportunities to win that game. But our kids kind of learned that this is how we're going to do it. We're going to try to make you as comfortable as possible. And if we have to play with backups, then that's what we have to do. And I think that's one of the things we learned last year from the deficits.
Great.
Talking with Coach Ryan Carter, Clyde Flyers go up against Bellevue on Friday night. It'll be a road game in their rivalry. And let's let's take a look at Bellevue and what do they have this year, and how does that shake out for the opener?
Always a solid football team. Like I said, Ed does a great job, and their kids play football the right way, and you're going to get a spirited, entire community town effort when you go over to Bellevue. And it's a hostile place to play. It's been a hard place for us to play. They have a young kid at quarterback in Ike Brown who is super talented. Worries me for the future because he's playing as a sophomore, and Ed likes to do that, and that means he's going to be good for a couple years down the road. They have hard-nosed kids at every position, some skilled kids that scare you. And it's just a typical Bellevue team, and we know we're going to have our hands full, but our kids are looking forward to going on the road and getting the season kicked off.
And you can hear that game on 92.1 The Wolf on Friday night. There'll be Kyle Knight and Jim Kettner on the call, so I want to make sure that we promote that. Couple last questions for Coach Ryan Carter as we get ready for Clyde football, and they go up against Bellevue, as I mentioned, coming up in the season opener for each team. But positives in the scrimmages you've seen now. In talking with you a little bit earlier in the week, you were talking about line play, lack of injuries, but anything else that you sized up from those scrimmages that will help you, especially going into
One of
this
the
first
biggest
game?
things was we came out of those scrimmages fairly healthy. A couple little nicks and dings, but nothing that's ending a kid's season. So coming out of the scrimmages, going into week one, you have most of your bullets intact, so to say. I thought we got two very, very good looks, two diverse looks, in the fact that we played Eastwood, who was more of a power eye team. They're going to run it at you. They took their shots. And then we played Kenton, who was 5 wide, no running back, and threw it all over the place. So we got some decent looks. And coming out of there, seeing those things on film, seeing how your kids reacted was the biggest thing. So we made some adjustments. We put some things in. We got ourselves ready to go, and we're going to see where we're at in a couple days.
So I've always talked about this a little bit, special teams. Obviously, are they set? You feel comfortable? You're at a comfort level?
I do. If you're just talking specifically kickers, I got a 3-year kicker back for field goals and kickoffs, and I got a 3-year kicker back for a punter. So you feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Special teams are always something that you roll into week one that can win you a game, can lose you a game in a hurry. Turnovers and special teams and penalties. I just told our kids after practice tonight, guys, we haven't had a game where they're calling. We've had scrimmages, but usually in scrimmages, officials are just kind of calling it to get the game over with too.
Sure.
So we can't commit a ton of penalties. We can't have a ton of behind the sticks type drives that continue their drives or hurt ours. So penalties, turnovers, and special teams will obviously be big on Friday night.
Let's look at the SBC Lake this year, and obviously everybody talks about what Perkins has. Sandusky, there's been some politicking there. Let's just say that. Norwalk's improved. Tiffin Columbian's lost a lot, and so where do you see things shaking out? Where are you in that?
Honestly,
mix?
I think our league is always very, very solid. It plays good football from top to bottom, and you're going to have to play good on a night-in-night out basis to beat anybody, to be honest with you. Obviously, we're not saying anything that you guys don't already know. Perkins has, they're kind of a notch above everybody else right now, to be honest with you. Until somebody figures them out or can figure out how to slow them down or score on them, they're going to be there. They are ultra talented right now at every position. Obviously that's one of the things you look at the top. But I tell you what, Tiffin has been good for years in a row. Norwalk, I talked to their coach a bunch in the offseason, and he's doing things right. Obviously Sandusky has a ton of athleticism back. So I think the league's going to be good, just like it always is. It's going to get you ready. If you're fortunate enough to make the playoffs, it's going to get you ready, and you're going to have to play well each night to give yourself a chance.
Well, we wish you the best of luck this season, Coach Carter, and we'll be following the Clyde Flyers all the way, including on Friday night on 92.1 The Wolf with Kyle Knight, and Jim Kettner. So thanks very much for your time.
Thanks,
we really
guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. And, of course, we remind you that we are at Frickers tonight, first coaches show of the year, $7.99 steak night. And, of course, they have nightly specials, the freaking chicken wings and also boneless wings. But make sure you check this out. And this should be your football headquarters because they have a lot of big screens there, all to watch the game of your choice, college and NFL action right around the corner as well. We come back next. We'll talk Ross Little Giant football with head coach Chad Long coming into his 9th year. All up next as we roll along with the Coaches Show. I'm Tim Boulware with Scott Logan here on WFRO Fremont Sandusky. You can go to our Facebook page, Eagle99, to see us. I don't know why you want to do that. No, I'm just kidding. It's a video age now, so that means I have to make sure the hair's combed, looking proper. I don't know if I see the ketchup stain on my shirt, so that's what happened. So, but we certainly do welcome you, and of course, a reminder: $7.99 steak night plus the nightly specials here at Frickers in Fremont, located between the Turnpike and Highway 20. We're going to welcome in Coach Chad Long in his 9th season with the Little Giants. They were 4-7 last year. First round loss to Avon Lake, 40-19. But we mentioned well into the third quarter and even in the fourth quarter, early fourth, that game was still in doubt. And you bring back Carson Caden at the quarterback position, and the thing that we had talked about during the preseason, Coach, is just being, I guess the term would be aggressively smart this year, because he had 17 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. We saw the flashes of brilliance last year, but we also saw some interceptions kind of roll in on him, like multiple during the game. So what have you seen this year that you feel like he's going to bring it up to another level?
Well, we have a little bit more of a diverse kind of offense. We're going to run the ball to set up the pass.
It's true.
It's diverse, okay?
It's diverse.
No, but, the turnovers last year in the offense didn't help our defense, who I thought was pretty good. Didn't help the field position, didn't help a lot of things. So this year I'm calling the offense, and we're building our strength in the passing game through what Carson can do.
Yes.
instead of what we wish he could do.
Okay.
So it'll be a steady increase as we go through the season and what he gets comfortable with.
And there's one thing that does help. There's two guys. And obviously, you're looking at the line play, but Zaylen Harris, that was at that scrimmage at Mansfield Senior. He busted off a 68-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
looked good doing it. And we were talking about it. You know, J.D. Moncrief had a great year last year. He was your first 1,000-yard rusher since you've been head coach.
Yeah.
But there's the feeling that Zaylen Harris can even add a level. Why do you believe that?
He has breakaway speed, good vision. I believe he is definitely better than what we had last year running the ball. And that's big words because JD did a really good job. But Zaylen has that breakaway speed, great vision, hard to bring down. And it helps that you have everyone on the O-line coming back, and they average 291 pounds on the O-line. So that helps a lot. I just feel that our kids are more confident this year, up front blocking, as well as our running backs running the ball. We're a zone team. We're going to run the zone, and we're going to pop one, or a couple, or a lot. So
it's not in. For me, I think this gets lost nowadays, and maybe you can talk about this angle to it, controlling the clock. Is there something about running the ball, and especially running when the other team knows that you want to run the ball and you still do it well, that just dictates what you want to do to them in the course of the game?
yeah, I mean, in the past, over the years, we've been strike fast, kind of throw, air raid offense, and unfortunately our defense felt the wrath of that because the time of possession is so much that we're on the field way more than the offense is. And you got to be able to run the ball to give our defense a rest. Okay? And if we score, awesome, that's great. But let's try chipping away at that clock a little bit to give our defense a rest so, they're fresh as well. We do have kids playing both ways. I think our depth is better than it's ever been. We can pull kids from the offense or the defense wherever they help us the most at. And over the years, we have played so many kids that anybody can play at about any position. And running the ball is key in my mind. And if we're going to throw the ball, it'll be simple, like I said, things that'll still keep the clock moving, but we're also moving the ball as well.
Yeah, the big thing is, and as well as now you're going to be calling the offense, that first down is very important.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of the sticks instead of behind the sticks.
Yeah.
And obviously from the mistakes that was made by the quarterback, not just the quarterback. I don't want to just pick on him, but, the turnovers and stuff like that, kill anything, especially early, because the last thing you want to do is look up and all of a sudden it's a 14 and it's a goose egg.
Yeah.
Because, it's tough to dig yourself out of that hole and move yourself forward. So with that being said about the running game, it looks like I saw a couple things in the scrimmage. You're still spreading people out.
Yeah.
Or at least you're showing you're going to spread people out.
Yep. I mean, we haven't changed a whole lot our formations from years in the past. Our offense is still predicated with the same principles and everything else, but now you got someone who is going to run the ball on a consistent basis and is going to play in the strength of what our quarterback can do, make it as simple as we can, so there is no chances of mistakes, and it's still moving the chains, still catching them off guard, still able to pass the ball, still able to run the ball. In order to do that, all I'm doing is manipulating the defense by setting them up in formations that we know they're going to be in that plays favorable to us. You want to load the box, we'll pass.
Sure.
All right? But if you're going to play all, and have five guys in the second, we're going to run the ball. So we'll do a little bit of both. And, it's one of those things we will spread the ball out, and we still will pass, but every time we can run a zone off of it. The great addition of Scott Nicely on the O-line has helped out wisdom of box countable of how many people's in the box and things like that, as well as Coach Smith, who's been with us for a while. And then having Eddie Baptista back with the receivers, with Coach Mackey has been great. We have a lot of experience. All we want to do as a staff is win. All the kids want to do is win. They don't care. There is no egos. No one cares. They just want to win. And that's the bottom line, and, that's what the kids believe in. There is no viruses, and it's beautiful.
So talking to you a little bit a few weeks ago, you had made mention that you really felt that this may be the best front four you've had.
Yeah, on D-line?
On D-line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one that I can say compare is when Ethan Green and London Johnson was there.
Right.
Well, guess what? We got Caden Miley, who's 305 pounds, and Peyton Heschel, who's been an anchor on the D-line. He's 295. And then now you have Quez that's out on the one end, that's 235, that's just been killing it in the scrimmages. And then you have his brother Talon on the other side, who's just fast as can be. He's like a Bowen Shook.
Yeah, so who is the one that's come I watched a little bit of the film. It seems like they're right on the snap count. They're in there now.
I'm going to be honest.
And I can't tell you a number because the numbers aren't right.
It's either Talon or Quez. They both cause so much havoc. And, what do? If you got fast ends that fly, you run underneath, and you can't when you got big bodies like that.
Sure.
And then you throw in Cole Myers. If we take Miley out, Cole Myers he's 325.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's a big boy and can play with some leverage, and then Peyton will never come off the field. He's only defense.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a good combination of things that we can do as the defense. My nephew, Cade Long, is actually calling the defense this year, and he's doing a great job. Same principle, same everything, just we're getting better. We had a lot of kids play last year, and it's showing, and we're flying around and making plays. A lot of turnovers. First scrimmage against Northview, we had 2 pick-six for touchdowns. And then Quez picked up the fumble, ran it in for a touchdown against Mansfield Senior. So they're feisty and aggressive on the defensive side.
Talking with head coach Chad Long as Fremont Ross gets ready for their rivalry game with Tiffin Columbian before another rivalry game against Sandusky coming up the following week, and that'll be in the home opener. But we'll have that game on Eagle 99, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock with the kickoff. Scott Logan and myself will be joining you this week. So I have to talk about Jadrian Brown. You talk about 30 receptions last year, just what he was able to do from the wide receiver spot. But then you mentioned about the 2 pick-sixes coming on that scrimmage against Northview, and he's going to touch the ball a lot. It's not only that, it's going to be in the special teams area. Yeah. What does he mean for your team to be able to have that big play capability?
Jadrian has just been a kid that, he's the best student athlete you could ever ask for. He's the best kid that works his tail off to do whatever he needs to do to get better. And, he's up there with one of the special kids. He does it all. He had, 4 returns last year, rather as punt or kickoff return. I think only 1 counted, but he had 4 returns for touchdowns. He plays defense. He can play in man coverage. He'll be a safety that rolls down. And he's also on the offensive side, and he is our weapon on the offensive side. That Mr. Everything can do everything. He can run the ball if we want him to. He can catch the ball, and he's just a special player. You don't get a whole lot, and just a great kid. I hope for a healthy year for him, and he can show everyone what he can do.
We were talking a little bit before the season began, and you mentioned how high you were on this defense. And we talked a little bit about it earlier, but it got lost in the shuffle last year because of maybe some of the tough spots they were in, the field position game and everything. How much do you expect this defense to be even better this season, and what will that mean for you in terms of getting the record that you're seeking?
Well, time of possession is the key. Offense has to do their job on our side as well as the defense will do their job on their side. I see a lot of turnovers. I'd be very disappointed if we don't have or create 25 or more turnovers this year. We don't have to blitz a whole lot due to the guys we have up front. That's going to get pressure on the quarterback, and the quarterbacks are going to throw the ball up. And all we got to do is just be in our positions like we have been, and things can happen. I think the difference between this year to last year, time of possession, bad situations, field positions, turnovers, everything. Just the defense played really well last year, even in the Avon game. The score was a lot closer, and then at the end it was like 3 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes or something like that. But our defense played their tails off and did really well. I mean, we were in the game, and we were minus 2 of our best players with Elijah Sims and Owen Shanahan, who are huge contributors, offense and defense, to us. We had opportunities to win that game, and and then it just got out of hand and that. So I honestly think both sides will be very improved.
So, speaking of, you're going up against one of your friends. That's a head coach over there.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that. I think you've been for the last, 4 or 5 years it's been since that's week 1?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's been a few years. So tell us a little bit what you expect out of Tiffin. What do you see? Obviously, they've got a couple new faces, obviously, in different positions. But tell us what you think about Tiffin.
Yeah, they lost a lot last year. They're like us last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's them this year. They lost their quarterback, all their receivers, their running backs. They have one receiver back, Jack Newlove, who's state runner. I think he took 3rd place in the 300 hurdles. He's a phenomenal athlete and a great kid. My wife taught him when she was a teacher over at Tiffin. I coached with his dad. They're going to do everything they can in the short game to get him the ball and let him run. Offensively, they're going to run the ball more than they pass. They're going to try misdirection, a lot of screens. I would probably try screening my team, Fremont as well, due to the fact that how fast we are off the edge and how aggressive we are. But, you'll see nothing really changed in their formations. We haven't seen anything change. They're big up front. Shawberry's the quarterback. He's a tall, lanky kid, a lot like Rogo. Not at that level, but he's a good quarterback, solid quarterback. And their defense, they go from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 defense they're in now. They'll play a 2-high safety look. They're going to blitz. My best friend is Sean Conley, who's the defense coordinator, and they will do everything they can to blitz, and we gotta be able to match what they're doing to what we have to do, whether it's passing or running the ball. So they're just aggressive on defense like they normally are, and here's the thing: when you play Tiffin Columbian and you got a team that has tradition and can win, they're dangerous. They're always dangerous. They're always going to be in games. No matter who they lost from the year before, they're going to be good. We got to come ready to play with our A game in order to beat them, and that's what we're looking to do.
And
Awesome.
As we wrap up with head coach Chad Long, as Fremont Ross goes up against Tiffin Columbian this week, pregame 6:30, kickoff at 7 right here on Eagle 99. You can also catch that on the web as well. And Coach, maybe this is a little bit of an open-ended question, but what is the most satisfying thing that you've seen from the team during the the workouts leading up to this? That could include scrimmages, and what's the biggest question mark heading into Friday?
The most impressive thing is we had 2 scrimmages against Northview and Mansfield Senior, and we've given up a goose egg on defense, not a single touchdown. And on the biggest question mark, I would have to say would be, how are we going to be in the passing game on the offensive side, and are we going to be able to control and manage the turnover battle and field position?
Okay. And I will say, being at that scrimmage on last Friday night at Mansfield Senior, during my time there, I was there well into the third quarter. They didn't get past the 50.
No, the only time they did is when we threw an interception.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
that was the only time. That was the only time it was forced. That's right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. So,
Yeah,
one more question.
Yeah, one more question. Tell us about the captains. What did you do about captains this year?
So we went with 5 captains, and I'm going to tell you this is by far one of the best senior groups we had. And, the players pick it, we don't pick it. And we have Zaylin Harris, that's a captain. We have Xavier Lopez, that's a captain. Peyton Heschel, that's a captain. Carson Caden, that's a captain, and Jadrian Brown, that's a captain. So it's a great group of kids. Seniors don't really care. Maybe deep down they may, but it didn't bother them.
Right.
We're really, really close as a team, and I really love this team. And it's great to coach because, they're a fun group of kids to be around, and they work hard for you. So that's all we can ask.
That seems to be the mo tonight. Everybody has a good group of kids. Don't have the superstar outstanding athlete, but they've got a lot of good kids and a good nucleus in their program.
Well, that really does mean a lot, and I know that, Coach, when you can see that leadership, I mean, it means one thing, and we'll kind of wrap up with this, but it means one thing when you say it and the kids respond to it, but when their peers say that to them, how much different does the messenger make it?
I mean, we've had no issues through all off season and even in season. These kids are always in great spirit, pumping up, smack them, in the butt, and they just bring a lot of energy, and it's fun to coach kids that are enjoying the love of football and playing together as a team. I mean, that's all the glory right there is, if they're having fun, wins will come. And we do have our new slogan, TPW, Tough People Win.
At least you added the W part.
Right? We need to win. But no, it's what the kids came up with, and they live by it.
You have shirts made up. I saw that on the sideline. Yeah. Well, and I'll attest to that. The scrimmage on last Friday, it was amazing to see. And usually you don't get to sit that close, and you do because you're on the sideline, Scott. But when I sat down there, and even in a scrimmage, the players were all jumping up and down for their teammates when they made a big play. Yeah. And that adds, when you create an atmosphere like that, how much does that mean for a team concept and for chemistry building?
Well, it's a formula of being a dangerous team, and you can be very successful when you have kids getting excited for other kids. I mean, it's a potion of dangerousness that can occur, and that's how great teams are made. That's how teams with tradition are made, is by having good team spirit, being together, having their backs, and it just feels different this year. There's no, you got to look over your shoulder and watch this kid or anything like that. It's pure joy, as a coaching staff and myself, just having kids that love to play the game of football the way they did.
Well, we look forward to seeing you down there in Tiffin on Friday night, and thanks very much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Go Giants.
All right. Go Little Giants. And Coach Chad Long joining us. And that is our first coaches show for the year here at Frickers. $7.99 steak night every Wednesday. And don't forget their nightly specials here. Kids can eat free. Ask your server for details. This is your headquarters for all the college and NFL games that we're going to have right around the corner. College football starts this weekend. NFL will start in a couple of weeks. Looking at that, I'm trying to equate when Labor Day was because the NFL never starts on Labor Day. But, that'll wrap up our first coaches show. We appreciate Nick Roth, our producer engineer, also Aiden Klein back in the studios. And, of course, we want to mention that we are on the Facebook as well, Eagle 99 Facebook, so you can see who we're interviewing as well as hear their interviews here from Frickers. Cal Knight will be doing next week's show here from Frickers. And a reminder that Friday night, 6:30 on 92.1 The Wolf. That's the pregame show, 7 o'clock kickoff. Bellevue goes up against Clyde. We'll have the Ross game against Tiffin Columbian, 6:30 pregame with a 7 o'clock kickoff. So for Scott Logan, looking forward to seeing you. You're going to be up in the booth, a little bit different perspective.
Yeah, first time ever up in the booth on opening day.
On opening day, yes, opening night.
I won't be able to talk to Chad, but I'll get over it.
Well, he's really going to miss that interview.
I love the interview. Yeah, I can't answer that.
We don't have that. Are you going to make the trek up? He said he usually forget about it anyway. He was off mic. All right. For Aiden Klein, who was our producer and engineer back in the studios, I'm Tim Boulware. Thanks to Frickers, and thank you for joining us, our first coaches show. We'll talk to you again Friday night, opening week of the season, here on Eagle 99. Have a great one.